Welcome to season 2 of the Get Set podcast, an old girls entertainment production. We are so excited as ever to be here and talking about our experiences as 3 women in the TV and film industry.
Woo, woo, woo. Today we have Jessica and
Moni
talking about our experiences in the industry and the importance of being able to
pivot.
What do we mean by pivoting?
Pivoting. Okay, well, so pivoting means that you have a game plan or expectations, and then something arises where that is no longer going to come to fruition, and you need to pivot or change gears or switch your focus in order to still stay on track, even maybe if the track changes, changing your goals or staying in alignment with your goals, but navigating there a different way. And this industry is always going to be about being able to pivot.
Yeah. So getting right into it, the industry itself, like the nature of the industry, is inconsistent. And like we've said many a time, there's not necessarily a right way to get wherever it is that you're trying to go. There are wrong ways, plenty of wrong ways, but there's not necessarily a right way for most positions in the industry. I think also just talking about like my personal career, I started in the inconsistency. So I graduated college 2020. I was trying to break into the industry when there was none due to COVID. Everything was shut down. And then, eventually I caught some footing, and now the strikes are happening. Mm-hmm. And that's being like putting people out of work for quite a long time. But with all that to say, like, yes, there are strikes. Yes, there are other unforeseen, but even just the industry itself, I mean, it's all gig based. So you can be working on a show for 3 months, and at the end of those 3 months, you need to find a new job because that gig is over. That season is over. That film is over. Or, I mean, maybe it's 9 months. Maybe you're lucky and you have like a longer running show, a proper 22 episode show for a large network. Or maybe even you're an actor and you're day playing and you freaking booked that role and you got that one day in on this big show, which is amazing. But then at the end of the day, you booked one day and now you're out of job again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just important, and it's really something that we have learned. Like, I mean, everyone has to learn that, I think, but I feel like when people think of like working actors or working filmmakers, you think that people are working all the time, or it's seemingly so, like, so.
Yeah, because we're constantly promoting our stuff and and we're constantly pitching people things or telling people things, but really a lot of that momentum is self-driven.
Well, and the thing is too, is I think most industries, you're at a job and you're working 9 to 5, like most days of the year, like most industries are not gig based,
right?
So you keep going to the same company. And so as like when you're growing up and you're thinking, I want to be like a working filmmaker, then you think that you're always going to have jobs, and it's just it's not true. And honestly, thankfully, because the way the industry does work, there are very long days. So you do need some like time off, like the way it's like structured and everything. But like when those times off come around, they're nice to a point, obviously. But it's just something that I think I didn't realize going into it.
How much you're going to need to pivot.
Right. And just how many waves of the industry that there are. Like, just
how much inconsistency there is.
Yeah, it's just the nature of it.
Yeah.
So, Mo.
Yes?
Let's talk about acting.
Oh.
Because, I mean, like we said, you could book this amazing role, but it's just for a day.
Right.
And then you're out of work. So, let's hear about the role of pivoting
as an actor. Yeah, as an actor, I feel like we are constantly pivoting from the beginning to the end of our whole job. And something that, a couple of actors I've heard in interviews say is, the job isn't when you book it. The job is auditioning, and the job is networking and meeting people and being a good professional person for your longevity to take you through. And so I think pivoting is huge for auditions. Now, yes, there are self tapes, but there are also like live callbacks too. So this kind of applies, across the board, regardless of in the room or Zoom. Um, but for an audition, you prep your audition, you have all these ideas in your head, this character work, this, all this script analysis that you've done, you go in with your choices. And then let's say, just to show your range, they give you, oh, let's try it like this. Totally not based in the script, maybe because they are thinking about a scene in the rest of the feature or in in the end of the season that you don't know about, and they just want to get this vibe from you, and you have to be able to change on a dime with like a couple seconds notice and be able to do it again with completely different intention or stronger intention. And that might completely take away the physical choices that you made. It could, take away the prop choices that you made or anything.
Because I think also what's really interesting with acting is like, I mean, at least like from a director standpoint, I like applaud you guys so much, because it really is like, it's not like who can act this the best. It's like who can act it the best with that aligns with the vision of the director.
Yes,
Do you know
I
what
will
mean?
say,
and be able to work with the director and collaborate. Be directed.
I think it's super important to know. We did go through a casting for our recent short film, and there was this extremely talented performer that we auditioned, and Jessica, you gave them a note and they fought you on it, and that conversation was done right there.
It wasn't like rude or anything, and I don't think that she was like really trying to like quote unquote like fight, but I do think that it was like, oh, there's going to be an issue with communicating, I think.
And receiving notes and being able to take them in, because you're hearing what I'm saying and you're offering me an alternative to what I'm asking you for. And that's not pivoting. Because you're so, as an actor, like when I see it, because I've seen, that's when someone's so married to their choices that in the moment they can't change.
Basically, I guess like just want to solidify this a little bit more. We saw a part of what they were doing, what they were auditioning with. And we kind of cut them off. We said, okay, that was great. Let's change it a little bit this way. And they were like, oh, well, that's later on. And so they were like, oh, well, I'll just do it faster and like to catch up, and then I'll continue it. Basically, they were, they wouldn't like change what they were doing in that moment. They were like, well, like I get there. I get there. You just have to wait, basically.
Right. And so,
which is
again,
fine.
not said in a rude way, but in a filmmaker's mind, when you hear that, it's like you're nervous that stuff like that will happen on set. Well, it's like, well, I don't have an hour to get this shot off, or I don't have, I don't want to use 10. What if we were shooting on film? I don't have 10 minutes or 5 minutes to go through this whole sequence on film, because we're burning film, and I'm not asking you for that.
Again, it's more of like a oh, she doesn't understand that I'm just trying to see how we communicate and how we get,
And that's the point that I'm getting to with pivoting. It's like, it could be, I think a lot of actors, especially just starting out, because I didn't know this, when you're given a note, it might not be that you misread the script. It might be they just want to see a different color of you. They want to see a different, they want you to, see a different finesse that you bring to the table, just to see your range. And so
I also do think, I mean, again, this is like just a small like kind of side note, is I've had an actor who we ended up booking, and I gave her like a, hey, let's give you different colors, essentially, like note. And then she then proceeded, like, when it came to filming, she kept kind of like going back to the, the note that was like kind of offhand that I gave. And it was like, oh, wait, no. Like, just so you know, that was more of an exercise versus like, this is what the character is supposed to be.
Yes. That's also a good point. Yeah. So once you book the role,
Mm-hmm.
you need to be able to be like, well, I brought this into the audition. Great. You booked the role. You did the callback. Do that. But then the director on set might give you something different. And that's what you need to roll
Right.
with.
Right.
Yes.
So that was just a side note that I'm like, I remembered that I think is kind of, it is important, especially, you know.
Yeah. And I will say, so I've had I mean, not to toot my own horn a little bit, but this is something that I do pride myself on, is pivoting as an actor and as a performer, because I booked, one of my first commercials, and the production company called me a week or two later, and she's like, "Hey, Monique, I'm sorry to bug you. I just have the editor on the phone and he really needs to talk to you." And I was like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "He's being really insistent." And I was like, "Okay."
The editor?
The editor. He gets on the phone and he's like, "I just want to salute you because there are so many different takes in here. They gave you notes and each take is so different and I can't choose which one we like the best. So I'm just want to say that your performances were great. We're having a hard time picking."
Oh my God.
The editor.
Is so cool.
The editor. Yeah. And this was like one of my first commercials that I booked. I think I was non-union at the time. It was like one of my first things right out the gate. And then
you were like, "Well, thank you."
I literally emailed my acting teacher from college and I was like, "This is verbatim what he said and I owe you my life."
Also be like, "Wait, can I record this and send this to an agent?" Like,
oh no, I was typing it on my phone as he was speaking. I was like, "This is a quote. I'm keeping it in my heart." And then last year I booked a commercial and the directors were fabulous. It was actually 2 directors on this commercial.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, a bigger picture. It was for a bigger company that they were answering to. And so the company was seeing me live, like as I'm performing. Mm-hmm. It was one line. And they're like, "Okay, now I need you to try it like this." And then I'd pause and then we'd wait to hear feedback from the company. And then the directors would be like, "Okay, try it like this, try it like this." Mm-hmm. I kid you not, we did it 30 times. Each direction was different. And I was fucking exhausted.
Yeah.
I was exhausted. And then I get off set and the PA comes up to me, one of the PAs, and he said, "Hey, my name is blah, blah, blah. I just want to let you know that like, I'm an actor too. And just watching you work was amazing because every take was different. And like, you really just ran with what they gave you."
Yeah.
And I got chills. I mean, like, I'm so grateful that PA said that to me because I mean, I was fucking exhausted.
Yeah.
I was so exhausted. And I'm like, they were asking me for so many different things so many times. Mm-hmm. And internally you feel like, fuck, it's not good enough yet. Fuck, it's not good enough. I'm not meeting it. I'm not meeting it. And he's like, "No, they just had you do a bunch of different shit.
Yeah.
And you delivered."
Well, and I think it's like, well, we just want options.
Yeah.
Because also, if you think about commercials, I mean, it could play to different markets and maybe they're trying to like
do different spots
and different performances are to cater to different audiences.
Right. There's so many levels, like, and I think Carlos spoke to this because he did a spot for Disney. Mm-hmm. There's so many different levels of hierarchy. So like if it goes all the way to 5, but there are 10 levels or 10 people to get through, instead of, reshooting or calling you back, they're like, "Okay, try this one. We have 30 mm-hmm. different takes of Monique saying this line. So like something's got to work."
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So, I mean, for the actors, it's very important to pivot, and thank you to those people who validate us because we often don't hear it. And so I'm so grateful for those 2 instances, but definitely pivoting in the audition room and when you book the job, working with the directors.
Mm-hmm. And I think too, another good thing that you've said was that they asked for options and you gave them options.
Right.
Which just also, again, means that there's different ways to tell the story and it allows the filmmaker like just different options and different variations to be able to like, different notes to be able to hit when it comes down to actually piecing it all together. Mm-hmm. And it's because you were able to pivot in the moment and be like, "Okay,
I gotta exhale, wash off what I just did."
It's not that I'm not doing good enough. Right. It's that they want different options mm-hmm. to play with, to figure out, to create the best story that they can whenever it's all put together.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with what you're doing in the moment. Maybe they use the first take. How many times have we heard like that? What, like David Fincher like takes 40 takes and then he uses the first one?
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
I've done that with self-tapes too. Like
Yeah.
a lot of my first either 1 or 2 tapes is what I go with. And then I
Mhm.
get too minute with it. And then it ends up being too structured or
Yeah.
like manufactured. And I'm
Yeah.
like, fuck, the first or second take was the best.
But yeah, so we have that pivot. And I
we
think
have
also
that pivot.
mental pivots.
Mental pivots.
Which I honestly, again, even like the way we're talking about this
so
is
mental
pivoting, like thinking like getting that you're getting direction, not that you're doing it wrong, but that they just want to see different things.
Yeah, you need to wash it off. You need to exhale
Mhm.
while still remembering your lines and having your mind be fresh to take in the new note.
Mhm.
While, you know, letting go of the old note because this is a new note. This is a new moment. I think also for actors, you know, just starting out, pivoting in the audition room, in the waiting room. In the waiting room, because oh my gosh, waiting room stories. I haven't been through it a lot because like I mean, the more you go through it, like the more professional people are and they just want to get in, they want to get out, they want to do their business, they're in the zone. But especially starting out non-union and going to like these casting calls, like you see people in the waiting room talking full fucking volume. And you just want to sit there and like practice your own thing. People are having all these conversations. Maybe they think something about the script that you didn't consider. You know, just all these things, like it is, you know, like a mental Olympics situation.
Right. Well, because sometimes, you know, what's good for you, which would be quiet and concentration, may be better, like the other person, it's better for them
to be distracted and talk to someone.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know who those people are, but yes. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like that's who like what could be better. And that being said, obviously if someone's doing that, then that doesn't allow you your space. So you have to
I'm going to say it's unprofessional. Well, people just need to be respectful of other people's spaces. And like, if you need a conversation, you need to have it outside the waiting room. But yeah, some people need that distraction. Maybe they can find that distraction by putting their music on or AirPods on. But again, the mental pivoting of, oh my God, I just heard him gave a note to someone in the audition room. Should I come in doing that? No, stick to the work that you prepped. They will give you notes if they want to see other things.
Because then if you come in being just like the other person who came out, you're not standing out.
Right. Facts. Like we said about pivoting once you get the job also, I think it's important to be prepared for anything, a part of the project that you got booked on when you go on to set. And what I mean by that is the shot list can change. The schedule can change.
Yeah.
It's happened to me. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. This is, you know, I did an AFI film, American Film Institute. I would work with, you know, that school again and the students that come out of there if I had the chance. But based on the shooting schedule, based on the timeline, we were supposed to do this intimate, emotionally charged scene the following day. And the director comes up to me and says, "Hey, Monique, we really need to do this shot today. I'm so sorry. I thought we'd have more prep time together. I thought we'd have more time to rehearse and talk about it, but we don't." He's like, "All right, so I really need you to be ready for this scene today." And I was like, okay, here we go. I mean, it was like a 10-page short. This is pretty decently long. And yeah, a scene that I was completely not mentally prepared to do that day. That really took a lot out of me emotionally and physically. And, you know, the team was super nice, which helped, and they were accommodating, but I literally had 10 minutes to prep. It wasn't like, hey, we're doing this at the end of the day. It's like, we need to do this in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Based on the schedule and how things are shaking out.
Now, was this a scene that would have had a lot of like dialogue, or was it, no, it's just a matter, it was just like the physical?
It was mostly, it was just the physical and like emotionally charged. There wasn't too much dialogue.
Yeah. But yeah, emotionally charged is huge.
Yes. Yeah. And there was nudity involved, and it was just a lot of like intimacy in that regard. And so it's a lot to wrap your mind around and be like, and the shot is off in 10 minutes. So do it. And literally the director's so sweet and great, but he's like, do whatever you need to do to get ready. Let me know if you need me. I also need to make sure the shot is ready. So I'm going to go check on DP and the camera and lighting, and then I'll come back to you. But like, you know, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, inside, you're just, for 1 second, you're just like, fuck. And then you're like, okay, let's go.
Yeah,
You know,
that's a mental pivot.
it's a fucking huge mental
Yeah.
pivot. And so, and you know, you could be shooting a scene where you're happy and smiling, and then you're shooting something 20 pages into the feature where someone passes away.
Yeah.
And you need to turn on a dime like that and have that mental, have that change, have that prep work done. So definitely, being able to pivot once you book the job, once you're on set.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Also, yeah, and that makes sense too. That's a good thing to point to bring up of the, like, you don't know how the schedule is going to be with, like, when you get the script. It's not like in theater you act out the whole thing and you get to that big emotional arc and you're like ready for it because you've had this whole story play out.
You've had this build up. No,
yeah,
you could be dropped right into it.
Yeah, you could have been like proposed yesterday in your real life. You're feeling on top of the world, and then you come to work on a Monday, and they're like, "Okay, this is going to be a scene where someone dies, so you have to like be sad and cry on cue and all that, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you have to be able to kind of like pivot, pull from whatever you can.
Mm-hmm. It's really, yeah.
And then the next scene, we're gonna pat your ice your eyes so that they're not as puffy anymore, and you're gonna go be happy because it's the beginning of
a new chapter in your life or something.
Yeah.
It's really, I mean, a huge part of this is about being prepared and knowing the script and knowing your character. But yeah, it really all goes back to being able to pivot and take direction.
Yeah. And I think also, speaking of the script, there's been many a time that I've witnessed new pages on the day.
Oh, yes.
There's been plenty of, like, part of being a PA is like, and part of the AD team is handing your sides to the scripts that you're going to shoot that day to the actors, or leaving it in their trailer or whatever. But there are many times we got a new script at like 6 a.m. that morning with different lines that they just wrote to make it quote unquote better, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
or to lay Easter eggs for something that's going to happen down the line. So it's important that you get this word perfect.
Right, exactly. And so then you have to, like, hand it over to the actor, and they have to be ready in, they're going through their hair and makeup. They have to be ready in 2 hours. So they have to try and memorize these lines for 2 hours while they're getting their hair and makeup and like all of that, pulled on them. And then
Lawrence mentions this too in season 1 in his FX makeup too, is schedule changes and that impacting hair and makeup as well, or costumes or anything, and saying, well, I needed 3 hours to do his setup. Okay, well, now you have 40 minutes. And he has to pivot, and he has to use different materials to get the same look that it was the original vision that got approved by production. There's pivoting happens in our careers when we're prepping for things in meetings with people, and even when we're on set.
Yeah. And speaking of on-set pivoting, like we said, there are so many things that can pivot, like in terms of like the schedule, or even like the job that you're thinking you're going into that day. Have many a time when
that happens a lot for PAs.
You think you're going to be a PA, and then all of a sudden they need like a background cop. So we got to put so-and-so into a costume and put her in, and go through hair and makeup, get your hair put in a bun, and then you're a background cop for a scene, and then you change out of it,
and then you're a PA again.
And you're a PA again.
Oh my gosh.
Or even if there's you were supposed to shoot outside today, but there's a thunder lightning storm happening, so we have to hold out for 45 minutes, which then affects the rest of the schedule, which
affects the sunlight, affects everything.
All of it. Yeah, exactly. The look, the feel.
Yeah, it falls a lot. We've talked a lot about actors and PAs and stuff like that, but it falls a lot on producers too. We have a lot of experience. We have experience with this.
Well, and then speaking of pivoting, if you have to have another set day because you're getting rained out because it's unsafe to shoot, then you have to pivot the budget in some way and find different other money, like find your incidental money and pay for another day of shooting, and try to get that location again because you were supposed to shoot out of the location. Yeah.
Oh, sounds stressful.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I haven't had to deal with that yet. But I did have to pivot as a producer for this short film that we did. I think I've talked about it before in season 1, but we booked this process trailer, which is a trailer that pulls a car, and we looked over the whole contract. We were on a closed road. We were approved by the city to be there with the process trailer, had the permits, and then the process trailer driver says, "Where are the cops?" And we're like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Well, we need cops for me to drive." And we're like, "It's a closed road. The city approved it. There's no one else coming." And he said, "In order for me to drive this process trailer, I need cops to be at the entrance and behind me." And we were like, we read over the contract. Nowhere in the contract did it say that there need to be a police escort.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Well, yeah, you guys should have known that." Well, first of all, it's not in the contract. But anyways, I had to, as a producer, I had to produce a cop on a Sunday in the Mojave Desert, not out of LA. I was able to find somebody based on like the contacts that I had, but we literally lost 2 hours of shooting that day because of that. So pivoting and saying, okay, what else can we get? What shots can we get without the process trailer moving those things around? I mean, the ball has to move.
Yeah.
The ball has to move. Things need to keep going. Momentum. Exactly.
Keep the momentum.
Keeping the momentum. So the whole purpose of a pivot is you're keeping the momentum and the energy, and you're just switching your direction instead of completely stopping and taking another step. You're just taking that momentum and shifting it elsewhere.
I bet.
If you don't know what that reference is to, you're probably not a millennial. But if you Google the word pivot,
or
haven't
been on this earth like for a while, because I'm pretty sure it's quite popular. Pop culture.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this 10 years from now, just Google pivot and you'll find out what it's in regards to.
So next we kind of want to talk about career pivoting.
Oh, yes.
Which I mean, I don't know. I love, first of all.
It's a love-hate.
Because, yes.
It's a hate that we have to do it, but it's a love that we found new loves in the industry.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I guess growing up, right, I wanted to be an actor.
Which I literally just recently found out about like a couple months ago, so I was floored.
Here's the thing. It's because I saw, the only thing when watching a film that I was able to process that I saw was the person on screen, was an actor. And I just knew I loved films. And I was like, oh, well, then I want to be that person. I tried it and I was like, yeah, this ain't for me. Like, I'm not good at it. And 2, I mean, I don't really enjoy, like, I love like the process of like being with like a theater type of like, group and everything. Community. But like, I'm not like, I don't necessarily enjoy like the acting part of it. I can't.
I just want to be a part of it. And I don't want to be, I want to be a part of how it looks, but
this is not for me. And then I tried, I started studying other parts of the film industry in community college, which again, still like in that area, you're really just like looking at the big picture. So, you're looking at editor, director, DP, writer. And I was like, well, I'm not a writer. Back then, that's what
LOL.
I thought.
now she's an award-winning writer. Okay, that's so funny. Jesus.
Yeah. Well, I was like, I'm not a writer. I don't like stories like are great, but like I didn't necessarily have faith that I could like become imaginative, and like also the rhetoric for that. The narrative that I've been told about writing is like, oh, well, if you like feel like you can go a day without writing, then you're not a writer, which
oh my
God,
not necessarily. I want to throw up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was like, well, I've been living my whole life without being a writer, so clearly I'm not a writer. And then what? So and then directing, I was like, I don't know enough. I can't do that right now, which I think was valid for sure. I also saw a camera. I was like, that looks like a lot of technology, not for me.
So you're like, where do I fit into this equation that I want to be
and
a part of?
And then I found editing, and I was like, ooh, this is like, I understood it. Like, and I could tell when I was doing like editing in these, like in the classes, I understood how the pieces got put together and like how to construct a story with like the pieces, with the picture and the audio. And you could tell when you're sitting in with other kids and you realize, or I guess adults, not necessarily kids. I always think everyone's a kid, especially if you're in school. But yeah, other adults, and you see others around you that are just not up to par with like what you're producing, you know? And not to say that they're bad or anything, but I just knew that somehow this clicked.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, well, this, but at the same time, I knew I always was like, I don't necessarily want to sit in a dark room all day, you know, editing.
Because you
So I
want
was
that
like,
community. You want to
yeah,
work with other creatives.
yeah, exactly. And it wasn't until I went up to, you know, college, and then I was like, oh, you know, I kind of got pushed here and there, and I was like, well, maybe I do want to direct. Let me like try it out because I've studied it. I understand how to communicate with certain people. There's still a learning process, but you know, let's try it. So then, you know, I started doing directing, but to direct up there, everyone wants to direct, so you need to write your own film. So I started writing, and like all of that has been career pivoting. I'm still pursuing the writing and directing. And because of that, like I've been able to win awards from both sides of it. So I'm like, okay, this is like pretty chill. Let's do it. That being said, when you get out of your like small pond and into the big pond, which is Hollywood, even though I was like doing pretty decent as like a writer director, and even now I would say I'm doing pretty decent as like a writer director in this big pond, like I'm still actively working on stuff, but I'm not like, they're not going to give me $10 million to do a film right now. Like, I just don't have one, that experience at all. I don't even know where I would begin with that at this point in time in my career. But then two, like, I don't have the name. I don't have like a marketability yet. Um, so with that, it's like trying to figure out where I can fit in as a cog in this big old machine to start out. So again, at this point, I started working on doing PA work and AD work. And so yeah, we're doing that. And then we still wanted to make stuff because we were making our things. And now I have some producer credits under because we started Old Girls Entertainment and we're producing stuff, which whenever you're doing any type of small time type stuff, you're always going to be producing something. Like you are producing it, you know, even if you're just sitting there writing and then you are trying to get,
if you have to figure out how it gets made,
you're not just like selling it. Yeah. You're a producer. You're producing in one way or another. But yeah, those are all the ways, like you just kind of have to pivot in order to find a certain thing that you want to do and get there.
Yeah.
Mo,
I think.
How about you as an actor, as someone who wanted to be an actor and stayed an actor?
Yes.
Because you actually had the talents and the wants and drives to do
so. I will say, so from the beginning, you know, I wanted to be an actor for many, many, many years. And well, I started out wanting to be a performer. So this was my biggest pivot is I went from the musical theater track to the straight acting track in college.
Interesting.
When I was younger, I wanted to be just a vocal performer. And then I was like,
Did you watch a lot of Hannah Montana? Just kidding.
I was a little too old for Hannah Montana.
Right. Yeah. The Lizzie McGuire movie.
Yes, Lizzie McGuire all day, every day. So yes, yeah. This is what dreams are made of.
Yeah.
Hashtag this is what dreams are made of. So I wanted to be like a pop star, as one does as a millennial.
Honestly, I was gonna say, like growing up, like that's what we were fed. Was like everyone, like no matter what, stars. You were a teen and your movie ended with a musical number. If it's Freaky Friday, you're sitting there playing a guitar at your mom's wedding.
Absolutely. And I was like, okay, I have to be a triple threat.
Yeah.
And in high school I did dance, and I was like, well, let's just put it all together. I'll do musical theater. And yeah, I mean, but people, like, when you go into the musical theater track, there are people who like eat, sleep, and breathe musical theater from when they were like 2 years old. And I'm like, oh no, I've never seen that musical before. Oh no, I don't know that Sondheim song. So, you know, it was a huge learning curve. And then I moved into the straight acting track, and I just, it clicked. It clicked so much. I still do the things I love. I still like sing recreationally and dance, but, and I do have that training and background, but I mean, it freaking clicked. And so then I'm like, I only want to be an actor. This is all I want to do. I just want to do straight acting. And from the beginning, my dad told me, he's like, you need to write stuff. And I'm still fighting that. I like being in like a writer's room situation. Like I like us spitballing.
Yeah.
But like you know, who knows? But anyways, I'm like, I was really fighting doing anything else other than acting, because I thought that if I divvied up my attention elsewhere, then I wouldn't succeed in this. And I actually, whether it's writing or what I found was pivoting and being a producer, I am creating more opportunities for myself acting wise. I'm meeting more people in a calmer, more open and friendly scenario instead of being an actor. Like, hi, I'm an actor. Like, you're a director. Hey, like, here's all my stuff. Like, it's much more organic to be like, yeah, I'm an actor and I'm a producer. I've produced this. Oh, tell me about it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're acting in it too. Great. I mean, it's just the feedback is people are willing
more
to
involved a little bit. Yeah, at least at this point.
At least the communication does, and that's
Mm-hmm.
where you build your networking. And I mean, we were just at our film festival last night, our screening of our last screening of Chapters on the film festival circuit, and I have on my postcard like an acting section and a producer section, and I send that to everybody. So if they want to find me as an actor, they totally can.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, I can talk about other things, and pivoting definitely to producing has been an absolutely, wonderful decision that has helped my overall goals for sure.
Mental health.
And mental health. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because as an actor, you need other people unless you're just by yourself on TikTok.
Here's the thing. Everyone in this industry, if you're trying to really make a TV or film, you need other people.
Yeah. But at least as a producer, you can make those connections.
Yeah.
Because that's like that's in your title to pull people in and hire people for things. If you're solely an actor, you're waiting on people to find you, or you're waiting on projects to come your way. Or, I mean, yes, you're meeting people, but
and then too,
it's the creating opportunities for me.
Like you're saying, maybe you are going to be the one starring in it, but as a producing role, you can be like, well, I really like this DP. And I know that they're going
to shoot me in a good way,
in a good way, or like at least I'm going to be comfortable. I trust them.
Right.
Especially if it's like an intimate scene or something. Right. You know what I mean? Like if you're able to have that pull and you're like, I know I can be emotionally open and I want with this crew.
Yeah.
It's just going to make you better.
Hello? Are you still there?
Okay, great.
Look at all
so there's something we wanted to tell you.
Have their own production.
We have a Patreon
who are producers and executive producers on everything.
Hop on over and
it is that
check
creative
out.
control.
And
for as little as
$1
a month,
you
are a member of
spending
our crew.
16, 12-hour days with these people.
So like even if
budgeting
templates,
templates,
like,
monthly updates,
and you're not in it, like we
have go visit us over at patreon.com/oldgirlsentertainment. There's a link below. You're gonna love it. Thanks.
There wasn't a role for it, but we have like other people like.
But we're working with people that we love, and I'm still excited about it.
Yeah, and we're growing new connections with people.
Yes.
We have a new actor that we haven't met before, so she's coming on.
We've met her. We haven't worked with her before.
Right. That's what I meant. Yes, like she's coming on and everything. We obviously auditioned and did all the things,
all the callbacks and things.
Yeah. But we hadn't met before, right? So she just blindly auditioned and came in. And then like it's with our one friend, but we're continuing to grow that connection.
And I will plug, if you're interested in knowing about the casting process, and as a producer, if you haven't done that before, through Breakdown Services and Actors Access, on our Patreon, we do have a mini episode about how to do that and how it went for us. And so I highly recommend that.
Is that under the creator or the day player?
It's under our creator section. So we have two different subscriptions. One is $1, one is $5. It's nothing crazy.
Yeah.
But it's up there.
Yeah. It is under the $5 one.
Creator one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, we've already been talking a little bit about the advantages, right?
Of pivoting.
Of pivoting.
Yeah.
But I think we almost really want to like highlight how important it is. Well, one, we just had Colleen on in the previous episode, and she talked about how she pivoted and continued to like just follow the momentum of the train.
Yes. And, in using that momentum, pivoting when she had to, learning as she was going, she moved from an executive assistant all the way to director of development.
Mm-hmm. And then, with our own stuff, one, again, in COVID, we met. It was a downtime. No one was working. That's when we all met. And and
we're workshopping
planted
things.
The seeds of what this company is now. And then I wrote a freaking pilot, which ended up winning Rain Dance, a year later.
Mm-hmm.
You continue to create acting opportunities. And like we said, did workshops for your acting. We made freaking Chapters, which is now finally finishing the
festival circuit.
2 years later.
Yeah, 2 years later. And I think really cemented like us starting to like, all work together. We have this podcast. We wanted to produce more content, but we needed like, we didn't want to continue to like, not continue, but it's always a little bit, I guess we wanted a lower maintenance form of
content instead of having to put on makeup every day. Guess what, y'all? We ain't doing that out here.
Yeah, and hiring a bunch of people.
Right.
And
we
all
can do
of
this
that
on our own.
We can do it with just the three of us or the two of us.
Right.
At this point in time.
Whoever can jump on.
Yeah, exactly.
I think something that you're, alluding to in all of this is like utilizing the momentum, but then realizing that we might not always see the fruits of our labor immediately.
Yeah.
But we definitely can, looking back on it 1-2 years later, who knows, where this ends up going 5 years from now. I mean, I know we're going to be successful as hell. But, I love thinking about that stuff, about how, utilizing everything you can in the moment, it's going to make you better off and set you up better for the future.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely about seizing those opportunities that arise and that you weren't planning for and just freaking going with it. Pivoting that momentum to keep it going.
So if you need inspo, or if you're wondering if you should, be a PA for, on that project that your friend asked you about, or if you're interested in another part of the industry and you're like, oh, maybe I should try it out. Should I be someone's assistant? I feel like the answer is like, yes. If you're passionate about it, if you're curious about it, try it out.
Yeah.
Because it could end up being something beautiful that'll help you get to where you wanted to go anyways.
I also think too, another thing that I've heard a lot and seen a lot is people do end up becoming like just wheels or cogs in the wheel of the machine. And I'm like, wait, where is this
the machine,
going?
The cogs, they're a part of it.
They're a part of
the moving part of the thing.
Yeah. And they kind of lose a sense of like, oh yeah, I did want to like direct, or, oh yeah, I actually wanted to write. And now I'm a grip. And like, they kind of they end up like losing sight because they take a direction that isn't really what they wanted to do in the long run, which I think is fine. Like we all have to pay rent and everything.
But making sure you always like reevaluate your goals, and if they're changing, then that's your goal. That's fine. But making sure you look at it
when there are those moments of like taking a breath because there's a strike, because there's a pandemic, because that job just ended. Maybe taking a second and being like, oh yeah, maybe I should like, if money is okay right now, let me actually take like a week or two off, and not try and like find more jobs and keep working myself to the bone. And maybe I now actually try to write that script that I was wanting to, or produce the short film that I had in my back pocket or whatever. Because if you do like, and that's if you want to keep going. Now, maybe you wanted to be a writer and you turned into a grip and you fucking love being a grip.
Mm-hmm.
Then don't worry about like the dream that once was.
And it worked.
Because if this is where you're happy, I mean, I think that letting go, I guess, of the dreams, which is the pivoting.
To find new ones. To nurture new ones.
Yeah, because again, like with my story of like, I wanted to be an actor and then an editor and then a writer and then director. Those are all big things that we all kind of like, not all of them, but like they are like bigger things. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
big roles in the production
that everyone kind of knows about. Or not everyone, but most people know about, I should say, because I feel like editor is still a little obscure. But once the fact that we're doing this like podcast, we are realizing like how many different roles there are in the industry, and you don't realize it until you get in there, right? There's like marketing, there's casting, there's a freaking executive assistant, there's an assistant director, a director's assistant. There's all these different not teeny tiny, but specific roles that you could do and be happy doing,
and make money doing while you nurture or fund your passion projects.
Yeah, or maybe that's just what you want to do. You say, I like doing what I'm doing.
I like doing line producing.
I like being an assistant director. I'm going to do that.
Right.
And that's also valid. That's another form of pivoting. It is, I guess, pivoting not just like your career or anything, but actually pivoting your dreams.
Yeah.
And being okay with that, finding peace with it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Oh my God.
One more time for the people in the back. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Pivot!
I thought. Sorry.
1,
yours.
2, 3.
Pivot! And then woo woo.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Woo woo! All right, we did all the things. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If there's a topic that you want to know about, go ahead and email us at go ahead and email us at getsetpodcast@gmail.com. We would absolutely love to hear from you. We've said this before. Yes. We definitely do this for us because we love it, but we also do it for you.
Yeah, I think that, I don't know, if it would be so nice to ease it, just anxiety, just make it a little bit less scary to hop into the industry if, we had a podcast like this.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, when we first started.
Yeah, absolutely. The point of this is we like to demystify the process, hear from people, network with people.
And the more accessible we can make it, even if it's just, it's hard anyways, but if we can make it just a smidgen more accessible just by easing the mystery behind everything.
Yeah.
Hopefully it helps someone.
Yeah.
More people we bring into the industry, the better the films are going to be.
Yep. Make it less stressful. Make it more accessible.
Yep.
We're here for you.
Less stressful, more accessible.
Oh,
yes,
get
ma'am.
it. Thank you. Yeah. Now,
go get it. Hello? Are you still there? Okay, great. So there's something we wanted to tell you. We have a Patreon that we definitely think that you should hop on over and go check out. For as little as $1 a month, you are a member of our crew. And you have access to cheat sheets, budgeting templates, monthly updates, and more. So go visit us over at patreon.com/oldgirlsentertainment. There's a link below. You're going to love it. Thanks.